Rob, what is our fourth main topic today?
John, our fourth main topic comes to us from Aaron T. Hey, John and crew. I read an article talking about the original script for Wakanda Forever was altered after the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman. I was surprised to hear how much of it didn't actually change, according to Ryan Coogler. I guess Namor and the basics of the story were still the same, dealing with loss and grief, just about different things. Did you have a chance to read this, and how well do you think Coogler handled the situation? Thanks.
All right, thanks, Aaron. Let's start with that last part. How well did Ryan Coogler deal with the situation? I will never fully grasp the enormity of the task, both creatively and emotionally, that filmmakers say behind Fast 7 and Black Panther 2, how they did it. You know, when Paul Walker dies halfway through production, or more than halfway through production of the Fast and Furious, how do you emotionally recover from that and then still find a way to bring everybody back together? Everybody loved him, and you bring everybody back together and try to finish that movie out. Black Panther was in a little bit of a different situation. They hadn't already started production, but you know, Ryan Coogler had already started putting the movie together. He was writing the script, and you lose Chadwick Boseman, who is the heartbeat of that franchise, and everybody, he was beloved by everybody he worked with. And how do you, from a production, creative, and emotional point of view, how do you bring everybody back together and move forward? What type of job? How well do I think Ryan Coogler handled it? Titan-like an absolute Titan. It's unbelievable what these guys were able to pull off and accomplish. It's remarkable. Did he do some things in the movie that I think should have been done differently? Yes. Could I have done it better? Hell no. Could most people have done better? Hell no. What he did was incredible. But yeah, there was an interview that was done. And the interview was actually a couple of weeks ago, but it didn't really get traction until the last couple of days, where Ryan Coogler was explaining that he had his initial script for Black Panther 2, and then, of course, the passing of Chadwick Boseman. What changed? What stayed the same? This comes to us from the folks over at Inverse, who wrote the following. Coogler says, the tone was going to be similar, Coogler says. The character was going to be grieving the loss of time, coming back after being gone for 5 years. As a man with so much responsibility to so many, coming back after a forced 5-year absence, that's what the film was tackling. He was grieving time and couldn't get back. Grief was a big part of it. After Boseman died, Coogler worked with co-writer Joe Robert Cole to draft a new story. While the plot and the protagonist changed, there were still elements of Wakanda Forever left from Coogler's original script. Namor the Submariner, played by Tenoch Huerta, was always the antagonist. The article goes on and talks a lot of things. So these key foundational themes, when you get into Black Panther Wakanda Forever, you have Shuri, who's wrestling with grief and doubt and direction with all that kind of stuff, and how that all plays with the inclusion of Talocan and Namor. In the original script, the more I read the interview, it was surprisingly similar. It's just that it was going to be T'Challa, who, not grieving the loss of any one person, but was rather grieving the loss of that he missed 5 years of, all these people's lives and all this kind of stuff. He missed so much of it. And he was going to be dealing with that. We still had Talocan. I'm sure the basic structure of a device was going to be the heart of, Talocan being upset that Wakanda exposed Talocan and all that kind of stuff. So it was really neat to see what they did there. And what they did was very creatively take those themes and just transmute them from T'Challa's character into another character. Again, I don't agree with the choice of which character they transmuted that to, but it was done effectively well. It was done very, very well. Because I'll tell you what, watching that movie, I never once felt like this was a movie. You watch Justice League, the theatrical version of Justice League. And while I enjoyed watching that movie in theater, you could tell this is a hodgepodge of different visions and different things trying to be crammed together in one movie. When I watched Black Panther Wakanda Forever, while I didn't completely love it, it felt like a pure original film. It never for a second to me felt like it was a movie that was being patched together or updated from a previous script before Chadwick had died. So yeah, I was really surprised to read how much of it was truly similar, how the bones of that original script were able to be transferred over. And when I read that, then I really respected what Coogler was able to do.
Guys, we want to thank a sponsor of today's video, Mint Mobile. This holiday season, the best deal in wireless can only be found at Mint Mobile. Right now, when you switch to Mint Mobile and buy any 3-month plan, you'll get another 3 months free. As the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, Mint Mobile lets you order and activate from home with eSIM while saving tons on phone plans starting at just $15 a month. Guys, you know I've been using Mint Mobile long before this holiday deal, and I have to say, it is the perfect time to switch. Since I switched to Mint Mobile, I've been spending 1/3 of what I used to spend on my mobile service with the other big name company. And with this buy 3 months, get 3 months free, not only is it a great choice for you, but it makes great gifts for the people you love. Mint Mobile's best offer of the year is here. By going online only and with eSIM and eliminating the traditional costs of retail, Mint Mobile passes those significant savings on to you. All of their plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and switch easily and effortlessly with eSIM. Or if you need a new device, for a limited time, get 6 months of free service when you buy a selected device and plan. So guys, for a limited time, buy any 3-month Mint Mobile plan and get 3 more months free by going to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea.
There. Anyway, Christian, you read this article, you see the similarities that he was able to bring over. It must have been emotionally incredibly difficult to take these themes that you wrote for Chadwick and now moving them. And now instead of grieving time, we're actually grieving Chadwick. What do you make of this, and how well do you think Ryan Coogler managed that?
Masterfully. I mean, absolutely masterfully. Very similar to what you just expressed. I think that one of the things that you had mentioned inside of the, ironically, the time, as he mentioned, I think that that's what makes this so spectacular. Also, this story is the amount of time he had to do this.
Yeah.
He didn't have that much time. They announced it. He had written the one that was going to come out with Chadwick. Chadwick went, was diagnosed and then was, obviously a lot of people knew in his circle, but that disease is it's a bitch. It's a real, pardon the French, a real fucker. And it took him fast. And they, as you said, had to grieve, and then they had to work, and they had to put it all together in a way that it all made sense. And it makes a ton of sense that you're looking at it and you're going, okay, this is what I have here. Because not only are you trying to piece together the stuff that's obviously going to make sense, you also have to do it in a way that you're paying respect, and that you're doing it in a way that you're not, you want to do it in a way that you're honoring the person that you love, in the way that you'd listen to the conversations that they had. This is a real love that they had, not just between Coogler and Boseman, but between Boseman and the entire cast. So putting that all together, making sure it all works. And I agree, there's a lot of stuff inside of that script and inside of the movie that I think could have been cut, wasn't necessary, but I echo exactly what you said. Could I have done any better? No. Could a lot of people have done any better? No. He did a great job for what he did in the amount of time. That's the main thing. What people don't take into account, if you had your grievances with that script, think about the amount of time that he had to do it, get it shot, get it in the theater. Because remember, when Black Panther, the trailer dropped, the first one, Wakanda Forever, when it dropped, everybody before that was like, where is the trailer? We haven't heard, this movie's supposed to come out in November? Nobody's saying that. Nobody remembers that now. But everybody was saying, where is this? We haven't even seen it. The first trailer drops, nobody even said, oh, it's going to be, it was like, this is amazing.
It was so good, that trailer. Rob, you read through this article. I mean, obviously, it paints the movie in a little bit of a different light now as well. What did you take away from this?
Well, I mean, look, I think that hearing this, it's clear what the original draft would have been. What did he miss? There's a significant story point in this movie about what he would have missed. And that would have been fascinating to see what would that have meant on a number of different levels. And I think that, and dealing with the blip even, and it would have been fascinating to look at. But I think that said, he did, like you said, a phenomenal job restructuring the script and still making it relevant. I mean, there's been a lot of criticism that this movie has then focused on the women, which I thought was great. I thought it was a great example because you're dealing with mothers and daughters and siblings and friends and lovers and all of that. Like, it could have been anybody, but what does it mean when somebody that is the central focus of all of these different people's lives in different ways? What happens when they're absent? Okoye, what does it mean when your leader is gone? You're protecting the throne when the throne is left empty. What happens when your brother, who is your confidant, is gone? What happens when your son, you've lost your mother that loses a child? I mean, this turned the film into something different, but I think very, very relevant. And if you look at phase 4, family and what family means has been a ongoing theme through the entire phase 4. And I don't think ever so well illustrated as it does in this film.
Family and loss in phase 4.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, family and loss, and it's something that started in phase 3 with Guardians 2, even with the broken families, with Ego and Nebula and Thanos and Gamora. I really think that what Ryan Coogler had to do, it was forced upon him because of the situation. The man rose up and created something that might not have been what he wanted to do at first, but certainly is worthy of everybody involved and serves the memory of Chad Boseman. Is it true it's his birthday today?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would have been Chadwick Boseman's birthday today.
I mean, what a great honor to have this movie in the theater to honor the memory of what he meant to so many people.
I'll tell you what, one of the interesting things reading this article did for me, because for those of you who watch the show regularly, you know that I am staunchly in the camp that T'Challa should have still been the main character in this movie and they should have recast. I thought that was the better way to honor Chadwick Boseman. I thought that was the better way to continue staunchly in that thing. I will say this, reading this article, it gives me a deeper, the word's not sympathy, but maybe understanding of if you're Ryan Coogler and you've developed this script that's dealing with grief and loss as it was before and now Chadwick Boseman dies, and now you got to remake this new one. I'm trying to think of it through the lenses of the eyes of Ryan Coogler of how do you proceed making a movie about grief and loss with somebody else standing in the shoes of Chadwick Boseman? And listen, while I am still basically in the camp that I thought it would have been better for the film for them to use T'Challa as the main character and to recast him, I tell you what, this does give me a little bit of a different perspective to think, oh, Mike, I mean, it already would have been very, very hard. But understanding now where this movie was and what it was trying to be, it would have been maybe emotionally debilitating, I think, for maybe a Ryan Coogler or somebody else to take those themes and just recast.
And how hard would it have been for that actor that got recast?
It would have been a no-win situation.
In a situation like that, not from the audience perspective, but inside of that, trying to come into that with everybody dealing with that loss. And this was, if you look at the performances, it was very therapeutic for these actors and for Coogler, for everybody. Imagine being recast. So you come into that atmosphere, and I'm not saying whether or not it should have or shouldn't have. I'm just saying, imagine the situation. That is not easy to do. It's hard enough joining a sequel in general, or joining a cast of a show in season 2 or season 3, replacing the lead after a passing in a situation like that. I don't think people will understand how difficult that would have been.
Oh yeah, no, it would have been extremely difficult at the same time. Anyway, guys, question is for you. How do you feel about this? Like finding out about what the movie was going to be before the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman. Does it change your perception? It does for me a little bit of the movie that we ended up getting. Does it change your perception of how Herculean the task was even just to get it made? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.